Do you like crosshairs? Because I do. I mean, is there anything cooler than a cool reticle in the center of the screen that will show where your bullets will go, or I guess your melee attacks as well. I mean, there are also crosshairs for melee attacks. Now, I think about crosshairs a lot, probably a bit too much. Like, for example, the Uncharted games, right? Oh man, I love Uncharted. Uncharted's basically my favorite franchise, right? But then you look at Uncharted 4 and I'm like, you know, the crosshairs of Uncharted 4, they jump a bit too much. They are a bit too jumpy. I don't like how much the crosshairs jump like on every shot. It kind of doesn't really make it feel impactful. And then you go to Uncharted 1 and it's like, well, maybe this one is not jumpy enough, you know. The crosshairs in Uncharted 1, they just are too firm. They stay too much together. And they get to Uncharted 3. Oh, Uncharted 3, Uncharted 3, awesome game, right? It feels amazing, it feels strong, but the crosshairs, they are a bit too bulky. I don't like how bulky the crosshairs are. I mean, you can do you see what I mean? They're just too much. There's just too much on the screen. I don't like it, I don't like it. And then you get to Uncharted 2. Oh my god, Uncharted 2! I mean, look at these crosshairs. This is fantastic. This is like the quintessential crosshair. This is all I want for my crosshairs in games, man. I always think about this M4, man. This is legit one of my favorite weapons in video game history. And it's just an M4 in Uncharted 2. But it feels awesome, and I feel like the crosshairs are part of the reason for it. I mean, you have the little circle on the screen and there's four things that kind of separate, and I love the way it feels, man. I just love the way it feels. Now this whole crosshair thing is kind of a small part of like hit feedback, right? Which is kind of the thing I like talking about a lot. But for example, if you like look at Red Dead Redemption 2, man. Red Dead Redemption 2, I mean, this is Rockstar, man. Like, Rockstar is just a unique company. There's no gaming company that will put this much effort into making their combat feel like absolute trash. What is this, Rockstar? What is this? Is this a dot? Is this a dot? Am I supposed to aim with this? Like a little 3 pixel, whatever, like 4 pixel dot on the center of the screen? Like, what are you doing, guys? Like, what are you doing? Like, what have you been doing the last 20 years? You go back to like the first shooter ever, right? Halo Combat Evolved. And you look at the rocket launcher, and it's like this magnificent circle with all these rows in it, and you have like little thingies on the top, and it's super complex and beautiful, and it's like, oh my god. And then Rockstar 20 years later is like, nah guys, we can do better. We'll just have a single dot on the screen. That's what they like. This is where your bullets will go. That single little, those couple pixels there. That's where you will shoot. Yeah, no wonder that the games need crazy like auto aim, dude. It's insane. But even like, funnily enough, though, even talking about Halo, right? Halo has a lot of beautiful crosshairs. It's like thinking of Halo Reach, right? Like the assault rifle feels really nice, and of course the rocket launcher, as I just talked about. And then you have the shotgun, and it's just a circle, right? Like I mean, it works, right? It works. I mean, it kind of signifies like, hey, the bullets will go into this general area, you know, this circle here, you know. And Halo stayed with that circle with like ridiculously long. I mean, the new Halo Infinite doesn't even have this shotgun, I believe. I don't even remember what the crosshair is for the new shotgun, but I don't know. Circle, I mean, it works, it's great, but generally I feel like having a completely enclosed reticle or a crosshair, I don't know, something feels missing usually. Although I guess the shotgun in this case, it's fine, I guess, it's fine. Now, something you've been seeing a lot of in recent years is hit markers, okay? Hit markers, oh, fantastic. These things are just great. You know, instead of having to come up with all kinds of like animation systems and stuff to show like you've done damage to an enemy or like health bars or blood splatter, we're just gonna have a little cross on the screen that goes like tick, 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 tick. Oh, great, man, great, fantastic. It really feels like I'm shooting a clock now. Fantastic, great. I'm not really a fan of hit markers. Funnily enough, I do use them in my games, but I kind of have to do it because I'm just not at a level where I can really create like good hit feedback sometimes. But I feel like real developers should be able to, and honestly, I think there's no bigger flex than making a shooter and not having hit markers these days. For example, like one of my favorite crosshairs in recent history is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, man. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart has amazing crosshairs. I mean, let's look at this art, man. It's just beautiful. Like, the first rifle you get in the game, I remember shooting it. It's just, oh man, the way this thing separated is awesome. And then you get the shotgun, and it's all beautiful art, and it's amazing. Like, clearly someone spent effort on this. I love these crosshairs. But this game also doesn't have hit markers. So there's actually a lot of like cool hit feedback going on. Like when you hit an enemy, you have like this crazy red glow, and like it really feels like you're hitting the enemies, even though it doesn't have hit markers. Like an example of where I kind of don't like what they did to the game is again Uncharted 4, man. In Uncharted 4 they added hit markers where they didn't really have in previous games. And I don't know, man, it feels off. Like I've talked about this before, but in Uncharted 4 I kind of feel like I'm shooting like BB pellets or like a Nerf gun. Where in Uncharted 2, which doesn't have hit markers, it actually feels like I'm actually doing damage to the enemies. It actually feels like I'm shooting them. Now, even though I'm not too big of a fan of hit markers usually, right, as I just told you, there is one franchise that I do like really like the crosshairs of, and they're probably my favorite crosshairs of all time. Like anytime I think of crosshairs, or anytime I'll just talk to anyone about Crosshairs, you know, first date, everything, the first thing I'll be bringing up is Transformers War for Cybertron. This game has the best crosshairs. I mean, there's just something about this. Most games have kind of a 4-piece crosshair, right? I mean, it's a cross, literally. But then you have Transformers, and it has a 3-piece one. And there's something about 3 intersecting things where it feels more powerful, it feels more precise, it feels better, man. Like, even just the normal assault rifle, which is literally just, as you can see, like, it's literally like 3 just dots, 3 pieces. There's something about it where it just feels precise and cool. But really, when I think like the best crosshairs, the best of all time, like the one that I'll be dreaming about like every night, right? This is the one, man. Is the sniper in this game. The sniper in Transformers War for Cybertron is awesome. Like the way the dots in the middle are just completely up against each other, and like the little at the side, right, the little circle. Oh man, it feels fantastic. Like shooting this weapon against an enemy, it feels so powerful, man. Like it's like I'm doing piercing damage. But then, if you have noticed, if you looked at the game, right, you might have seen hit markers, but these are not like your average, like Call of Duty, like cross hit markers, the tick 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 ones. No. What they did, what this game did, and again, Transformers, these games are awesome. It's a whole story behind them, but these games are awesome, okay? You should play them if you were able to, which again is a whole story, but the hit markers in Transformers, man. Do you see this? Are you looking at this, man? Like they have this beautiful like red like flaring up anytime you hit an enemy. I've never seen anything like it. Like there might be other games, be sure to put it in the comments if you know. There might be other games that have this. But in my opinion, this is just awesome. And like there's something about these red flares that it feels like I'm actually doing damage to these enemies. It feels like I'm inflicting pain. It feels like I'm inflicting pain. It's awesome, and it feels great. It feels amazing. These are the best hit markers I've ever seen in the game, and I want every game to use them. I might even test if I can make them myself. No, I love the weapons in Transformers War for Cybertron. There's also the shotgun, which, you know, I love Doom Eternal's hit feedback. You know, the crosshairs aren't, they are really cool, right? They have beautiful art in Doom Eternal, but they don't really do anything. They're not like really like crazy dynamic or anything. But just the hit feedback of the game itself is really good. But then you have Transformers War for Cybertron, and for some reason the shotgun in Transformers, man, this shotgun right here, I mean, it's a simple reticle. It's like again 3 pieces. They're kind of, you know, the little haakjes. You know, I don't know. So I can't speak English. But the way when I put this shotgun to an enemy and I just blast them in the face, nothing feels more powerful than Transformers. And actually it's really interesting because usually in games it's actually very hard to make shooting metal feel satisfying. Like this is a really funny thing. Like you might not know this if you haven't made games yourself, you know, if you're just a player peasant, you know, not a developer of any kind. But I have made my fair share of games. I have made games where you shoot robots, and it's actually very difficult to make shooting metal feel satisfying because again, we as humans are just kind of pre-programmed to find it satisfying to slice flesh. I mean, it just is what it is, right? Probably comes from the hunting era or something. I don't know. But shooting robots, not as satisfying. So it's really impressive to me that War for Cybertron has like really impactful crosshair and really impactful hit feedback, where normally, you know, it's fairly difficult to do this sort of thing. But anyway, right, what I wanted to tell you with this video is crosshairs are important. Think about them when you make your games. Think about them when you play games. Pay respect to the developers who make these beautiful crosshairs anytime you see them. And be sure to shame Rockstar forever for putting this horrible dot into practice. I never want to see this again. This is a horrible thing. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Please, please, Rockstar, please. GTA 6, please. Just for the love of God, just have normal crosshairs. I mean, what is this, dude? What is this? So anyway, thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you around.